From that night, Agnes was no longer at peace. At first, she tried to ignore it. Before she even heard Mama Eda's story, she had already been noticing things. Small things. The kind you dismiss when you're new to an environment. Sometimes, when she was alone in her room, she would feel it. Like someone was standing behind her. Watching. Not moving. Just there. She would turn quickly, nothing. At night, it got worse. There were moments she would be half asleep, and suddenly feel the bed sink. As if someone had laid down beside her. Breathing. Slow. Heavy. Right next to her ear. But whenever she gathered courage to turn. Nothing. No one. Just her. And darkness. She told herself it was stress, trauma from losing her job, adjustment to a new place. But deep down, she knew something wasn't right. Then the dreams started. Not ordinary nightmares. These ones felt real. She would see shadows standing in her room. Sometimes more than one. Sometimes they whispered. Sometimes they just watched her. And every time she tried to scream, her voice wouldn't come out. As days passed, the feeling followed her everywhere. Even outside. That was when she started observing people more closely. And what she noticed didn't make sense. For a compound filled with hardworking people, nobody was actually progressing. The tailor downstairs had been about to expand her shop for 3 years. The barber always complained about one last problem before things got better. Mama Eda herself used to own 2 shops, now she struggled to stock one. Everyone had a story. A past glory story. Before I came here, I was doing well. I don't know what happened. It's like something just stopped my life. And the strangest part. Nobody could leave. Not really. Agnes heard different versions of the same pattern. Someone would finally gather money to move out. Then suddenly, something would happen. A sickness. An accident. A family emergency. And just like that, the money would disappear. They would remain stuck. But through all of this, nobody blamed Baba Thomas. How could they? He was the one always helping. If someone was sick, he brought drugs. If someone was broke, he lent money. If problems became too much, he even invited pastors and prophets to pray for the compound. Different men of God had come. They prayed. They fasted. They anointed doors. Nothing changed. And somehow, that made people trust him even more. At least he is trying, they would say. Instead, all fingers pointed to Momankem. The old woman at the end of the compound. Everyone knew her. She was the oldest tenant in the compound. She had no husband. No children. People said her husband and 4 children died one night in their sleep, no sickness, no warning. Just like that. Since then, people started calling her a witch. They believed she killed them. She lived alone. Always angry. Always talking to herself. Behind her room was a small space she called her backyard. But everyone knew what it really was. A shrine. Small, but unsettling. Red cloth tied to sticks. Broken calabashes. White chalk markings that never completely washed away. Always making strange things in her small backyard shrine. She was always sitting outside her door, even at odd hours, grinding things in a small wooden mortar. Leaves, roots, sometimes things nobody could recognize. Her eyes were always sharp. Too sharp for someone her age. And her mouth. Always moving. Muttering. Chanting. Sometimes laughing softly to herself. Momankem didn't make it any better. She was always fighting. Arguing with tenants over little things. Cursing loudly. You people don't know what is inside this ground. You people think you know yourselves. Continue. One by one, this ground will swallow secrets, she would say. People would hiss and walk away. They would say, ignore her. But she would laugh. That dry, unsettling laugh. But nobody took her seriously. They believed she was just a bitter, dangerous old woman. Even Bobaton refused to send her away. He would say, she's too old. Let her stay. Everyone has freedom to worship. Nobody liked passing her room at night. Not because she did anything directly to them, but because of the way she existed. Then, one midnight, Agnes heard a knock on her door. Knock, knock. Her heart started beating fast. Then she heard a voice. Agnes, open the door. It was Mama Nkem's voice. Clear. Agnes got up and opened the door. But nobody was there. The corridor was empty. Completely silent. The next morning, she went to ask her. Mama, did you come to my room last night? Mama Nkem didn't answer directly. She just said, the night has many voices. Agnes asked again. Was it you? The old woman looked at her and said, if a voice calls you, you should ask where it is coming from, not who it sounds like. That answer was enough for Agnes. She became sure. Mama Nkem was behind everything. When she told the other neighbors, they agreed. Many of them had experienced the same thing. Hearing her voice at night. Calling them. So, in Agnes's mind, everything matched. The disappearances. The voices at night. The strange presence in her room. It all pointed to one person. Mama Nkem. But one thing still didn't sit right. If Mama Nkem was truly behind everything, why was she still in the compound? And why had Bobaton never chased her away?